I graduated.
Yes.
Are you actually leaving?
Now, last
But
year,
is this really your last year of
meeting,
retiring?
didn't we also decide the
Welcome to the December 2016 meeting of the Conway Planning Commission. Thank you for coming. And I'm going to take just a minute here to break with protocol before we dive into this evening's business. And I just want to mention this is my 61st and final meeting as a Conway Planning Commissioner. And I just want to say what an honor and a pleasure it's been to serve with each of these people and with Brooks, who couldn't be here tonight, Brooks Freeman, but especially I want to pay tribute to Brian, Patrick, and Beth Skeeto, who work in our Conway Planning Department and do an outstanding job for each of you. The people of Conway, your planning department is in very good hands. And with Scott Grummer, last but not least, also, and Jason Lyon, it's been an honor and a pleasure likewise to work with all of you. All right.
As it has been with you.
Yes,
Thank you, Ann.
exactly.
All right, the Conway Planning Commission makes recommendations to the City Council on public hearing items. The City Council will make a final decision on these items using the Planning Commission recommendations as a guide. Items not approved by the Planning Commission may be appealed to the City Council within 30 days after Planning Commission denial. If an item is appealed to the City Council, a public notice sign will be placed on the property at least 7 days prior to the City Council meeting. A public notice will be placed on the city's website at www.cityofconway.org. Items reviewed at tonight's Planning Commission meeting may be considered by the City Council as early as January 10th, 2017. Now, in the material, it says December 27, 2016 for City Council consideration, but that date has been bumped back out to the January 10th meeting. So I just want to let you all know that has been changed. Now, the first item of business we need to take care of is the minutes from the November meeting. I assume you've all got a copy and you've had a chance to look it over. Do you see any problem with the minutes? Anything that needs to be corrected or subtracted or added? No? Okay, do I have a motion to accept? Okay, got a motion from Ann to accept, second from Wendy. All in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye.
Aye.
And I'd just like to mention, for the record, Beth Skeeto does such an outstanding job with the minutes every time. It's very detailed work, and Beth really does a bang-up good job with those. Now, before we get started on the items, let me just sketch out the ground rules for the public hearing tonight. For each item, we will allow everyone who wants to speak in favor and everyone who wants to speak against. The first person who wants to speak in favor of the item will have up to 10 minutes, and our Planning Commission Secretary, Justin Brown, will be the timekeeper. Any subsequent speakers will have 2 minutes each, and then the same time limits apply to anyone who wants to speak against. So we got plenty of time to hear you out, and so whatever you want to say, please feel free to do so. And one thing we do ask is that since this is a public hearing, if you come up to speak, please give us your name and address before you start addressing the commission. Now, the first thing we need to take care of tonight is the Fox Ridge Addition preliminary subdivision. This is for property located at the northwest corner of the intersection of Nob Hill Road and Clearwell Road. This requires Planning Commission approval for 4 of the items, and this was handled by the subdivision committee at 6 o'clock this evening. So I believe Marilyn Armstrong will bring us a report on what the subdivision committee decided.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the subdivision committee decided to table this applicant's application because we needed additional information that we believe the street department can provide. And also, we need the fire department to weigh in on this, and so it will be dealt with at a later date in the new year.
Okay. And I assume that the Fox Ridge people, the applicant has been notified?
Yes, he was
Mr. Elrod?
He was in the committee meeting.
Okay. All righty. Well, in that case, we will move right along to page 10 of the material. This is the Conway Corporation request to rezone the property located at 732 and 740 South Harkrider Street from C3 to I3. C3 is Highway Service and Display District. I3 is Intensive Industrial. Who would like to start speaking on behalf of this rezoning request?
I guess I'm elected.
All righty.
My name's Tommy Shackelford, 1815 Foster Drive. I'm Chief Operating Officer. My office is down there close by this piece of property. But we moved to the Harkrider address 1990. We've grown a little bit since 1990. We purchased this property 4 or 5 years ago, and our original property is industrial. We'd like to join this in with that. And we are going to do a master plan. We probably will need to expand our facilities into this area at some point. And that's what we're planning to do.
Are there any questions from the commissioners for Mr. Shackelford?
Yeah, can you elaborate? I know there are some examples that are provided here in some of the comments, but can you elaborate on some of the facilities that you said that you were probably looking to add in the future?
Right now, we need sheds for our equipment. We have anywhere from $50,000 to $300,000 equipment sitting out in the weather. When your power goes out, you want it back on quick. You don't want a lineman having to get ice off of his truck so he can work on you. Likewise, a water main break. You want it fixed as fast as you can.
Are these maintenance sheds or just storage sheds?
They're mainly storage sheds now. Let me back up. We've got a warehouse that holds about $6 million worth of inventory. It was built in 1990 also. We're overflowing there also. So, you know.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Shackelford?
Yes, the sheds, are they going to be aesthetically pleasing from the road, or just something like just an open two-sided
They
thing
will.
with the?
We have not done any design work, but I suspect they will be just like the sheds that we have down there now. They are open metal sheds. The first shed is back. I mean, it's blocked off where you know, it kind of, and the rest of them are double storage. They will not be closed in though. Like I said, you want to get that truck out fast.
Brian, with this I3 designation, are they exempted from the 51% masonry rule?
Exempted from the 51% masonry except for the front, basically, everything with all the image zones. So that area that you see from the street, basically the front side of an industrial building, used to be dressed up as if there were shopping center or whatever else, and have like typical parking lot, typical, most likely brick, something like that on the front, basically dressed up on the front, but then you can do your industrial stuff behind. Big metal building.
So it could be a big metal open bay with just masonry around a small section.
Well,
There's going to be several sheds.
Yeah.
Justin.
Right.
Yeah.
But
And we worked with Brian whenever we built our engineering building down there about 4 years ago. It has the brick on the front of it, and we understand that.
yeah,
I think we'll address this stage when it comes. Right now, the very front, where the barbecue place is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a standing lease on that going right now. And
Right.
there's no intention of doing away with that in the very near future. The sheds will be further behind that building at this point. So,
We're not gonna see 'em.
undetermined yet what's gonna be happening on the very front, but the street, basically, we're gonna expect to see dressed up and
Okay.
fairly capable of the shopping center or anything else.
okay.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Shackelford?
That answered my question.
Thank you.
And Mr. Shackelford, I just want to say now, regardless of the needs of Conway Corporation, if this rezoning is going to cause Smitty's Barbecue to go out of business, if I can no longer go there and get a barbecue sandwich, I think I'm going to vote against this. All right, you're going to have to give me some assurances that you're not going to put Smitty's out of business if we
I
pass
hope
this
we don't put
rezoning.
Smitty's out of business anytime soon.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that now. All right. All right, thank you, Mr. Shackleton. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of this rezoning request? Would anyone like to speak against it? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it into committee. What are your thoughts on this, commissioners?
Surrounded by three sides on industrial, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
I
have a
don't have any
problem
problem with
with it.
that.
It's there.
Fits in, yeah.
Hey, would you like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Brian, a second from Marilyn. Are there any questions about the motion before I call for a vote?
No, I think that,
Jerry?
I think that, I think that Marilyn's question was spot on. I think that the right thing to do is to, as your point, the rest of the land is congruent with I-3, but to Marilyn's point, we want to be sure that, given the leniencies that come with I-3, that we don't just give carte blanche to the Harkrider, vantage point there. But, that Brian and the planning department will address that to his point. So I think we've addressed all the main topics that.
And not to mention too that, I'll have to abstain, I can't vote on this motion, but I would vote for it, of course, but I have yet to see a project that Conway Corporation has done that does not look good. Even
Absolutely.
the new sewer plant way out in the middle of nowhere is a gorgeous building.
Absolutely.
The new service center downtown, they do things right when they do it.
Absolutely. They always have Conway's best interest in everything they do, but.
They just need to know that we're watching. We're on the job. We're watching. We're gonna be asking questions.
Especially, we're going to be watching Smitty's Barbecue to make sure that no going out of business sign appears on the front of it. Okay, is there any,
You were bragging on Brian, you know he's gonna make me do what.
That's right. We will.
is there any other discussion of the motion before I call for a vote? All right, all in favor of this rezoning request from C3 to I3, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Is it- Aye, okay. And does anyone abstain?
For a moment there.
Any abstentions? One abstention, I vote with the ayes, so that passes by, let me see, we have 9 people here tonight, so that passes by a vote of 8 to 1.
No, 8-0.
Oh, 8 to 0 to 1, thank you. Yeah, 8-0 to 1. Hey, moving on to the next item. This is the Superior Manor LLC request to rezone the
Thank you, guys.
property at,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks, at 625 Tommy Lewis Drive from C4 Large Shopping Center Commercial to O1 General Office with the intention of building a nursing home there. Who would like to speak in favor of this rezoning request?
Good evening, my name is Dirk Thibodeau. I am from Rogers, Arkansas, but my address is 5204 Village Parkway, Rogers, Arkansas, representing the owner. We're the civil engineers working on this project. Really had no problem with the existing zoning, other than the fact that zoning has an obscure thing about it in that the building setback also acts as the parking lot setback. So you can't park vehicles beyond the building setback. And so we're changing the zoning because the zoning that we're requesting doesn't have that rule. And but in every other way, we would meet the current zoning. So that's why the request is there.
And that's just so you can have parking on the front side?
Yeah, it's a little bit odd because normally what you have is a piece of property that has building setbacks, and the building setback deals with the building, not with the limits of the parking lot. And we have a parking lot that does not meet the building setback. Now, the parking lot is not right on the street, but it's also not 50 feet away from the street like a building setback would be. So the rezone allows us going into the O1 zoning, allows everything to happen as we intend it to, and honestly, we had met the C4 in every other way except for that sort of oddity. And that is set up in that zoning classification, because that zoning classification, as it was stated, is for like a indoor shopping mall, which would have a large expanse of parking lots that you may want that parking lot to be a little bit set from the street, so it's not just right on top of everything. So I hope I explained that well.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Thibodeau? Thibodeau, okay. Any other questions for him?
Yes, what would be the patient capacity for your nursing home? Any idea?
Oh,
Does it say how many beds?
I think, as I say, I think it's 120.
Okay.
It is actually a pretty low count.
Okay, yeah, it says here 120 beds.
So I have a question. So the goal is to do you want to decrease the parking space that's out there right now? And there's really no count that you'll need to match the nursing center, is what you're saying?
It's not decreasing the parking, it's just the parking lot will be closer to the street than what a building would be allowed to be
Oh,
to
okay.
the street.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Because it actually doesn't have, we don't have a high parking count, because nursing homes do not have, even though there's 120 residents, there's not the need for all of those residents to have parking spaces, because actually none of them have parking spaces, because this is not assisted living. So we're parking for staff and those types of things, so.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Thibodeau? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak in favor of this rezoning request? Would anyone like to speak against it? Seeing none, I'll bring it back into committee. How do you feel about this one, commissioners? Is that a motion? All right, we have a motion from Ann to approve this rezoning, and Jerry actually raised his hand. So a second from Jerry. Before we vote, are there any questions about the motion?
No, I mean, I think the staff here made a good point that this is actually, the zoning that he has now is really, you know, pretty wide open. I mean, you could put a pretty intense commercial building there at C4. And so moving down to O1, per the staff's comments there, it's really, you know, stepping down quite a bit. So this will be quite diverse behind the car lot there. So it'll be interesting, but it'll fit, I think, nicely in the neighborhood over there behind the hospital. So it'll be an interesting mix over there to that development.
Won't be a long commute from the hospital just to move right on in.
Is there any other discussion of the motion before we vote? All right, all in favor of approving this rezoning request, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Yeah, I vote with the ayes, so that passes 9-0.
Congratulations.
Now, moving on to the last item we need to take care of is officers and committee assignments for 2017. All right, let me start out by mentioning that the position of chairman normally goes to the longest serving or senior most member. And in 2017, that's going to be Ann Tucker, who will actually be in her 6th year. She and Matthew and I started at the same time, and I'm kind of jealous because she's going to get a bonus year because she switched over to fill out Stan Hobbs' term after he had to resign to move to Florida. So anyway, Ann will be the senior member of the Planning Commission. I've asked her if she would be willing to serve in that position next year, and she agreed. But I'm not a dictator here, so I'm not going to try to ram this down the throats of the rest of you. But I'd like to ask, are you all okay with Ann serving as the chairman of the commission in 2017? Any, right?
Motion
All right.
be the chair.
All right. And, okay, so I think let's go ahead and pencil her in then for the leadership position in 2017. Now, let me ask you this. Which of you, I've lost track, which of you are going to be in your 4th year next year? Okay, the two of you. Let me just say that, again, we don't have to adhere to the tradition, but the custom is that the vice chairman is a person who is in his or her next to last year. And let me mention too that Marilyn has other things on your plate next year, and so Marilyn has chosen not to serve as an officer so I don't want to look like I'm ignoring Marilyn, because I'm well aware that she will be in her 5th year next year on the commission. First, before we narrow this down to one, are the rest of you okay with either Wendy or Jerry being the vice chairman for next
You
year.
don't even wanna be vice chair?
Pardon me?
You don't even wanna be vice chair?
No,
Okay,
I'm
that's
good.
fine.
Okay. Now,
Say you're good.
let me ask you, do either of you not want to serve?
I'm not interested. I know Jerry is.
Okay. All right,
I know
Jerry, is
he
that
is.
true?
I know he is.
Know
He's
that
so.
name.
Is that your opinion, or did she give you your opinion?
She gave me my opinion.
Oh, I did not. I did not.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Are you willing to embrace that opinion? All right.
He just did.
Okay. All right. So is it okay? Does anyone have any objection to Jerry Rye serving as the vice chairman in 2017? All right. So now the secretary position, which Justin Brown has ably filled this year, which I occupied 2 or 3 years ago in my journey through my term. That's the other one. It's a timekeeper position, keeping the speakers within the time boundaries.
You did a great job this year.
Let me just ask, who would like to, would anyone like to?
No, I think we need to keep it as
I
is.
think if Justin is willing to serve, continue
Justin-
serving,
Yeah,
let's just
I'm
let
fine.
him.
Yep.
Is that all right with you all if we re-nominate?
You look mean, so I'm kidding.
I just,
Boy, you guys are making this easy.
She
I
would
thought
never
this was
cut
gonna be
anybody.
hard.
Please, no, you can't have another.
Oh, okay, just a little longer.
I just commented that I heard him abruptly say time.
I get in the
several
microphone.
times.
Okay,
Time.
let's pencil in Justin Brown then. He'll
But
have a
it
second
makes a
term
noise
as
when it does that.
secretary, and you'll be in your 3rd year
Yes.
next year, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And Brian, are you going to be in your 3rd or 2nd year next?
Fine, sitting right over there.
Okay, you're fine. We're-
Brian and I
okay.
came on together.
Right.
He's third as well.
Okay, so we got Ann,
It's already been that long.
Jerry, and Justin as the officers for 2017. Now, since I'm not going to be here on the commission anymore after tonight, I'd like to let you all work out the committee assignments, but we need to get the committee assignments set tonight, so you all are up and running for that with the January.
I'd like to nominate Mark to do, no, I'm just kidding.
All right.
Be the one-man subdivision?
Mark and Matthew to do,
I have a conflict with being on the subdivision committee. I'm president of the Boys and Girls Club next year, and we meet on the same night, but we meet at 5:30, and we're usually through by 6:30. So if I don't want to try to leave those meetings early as a president, which I did the last
Put him
year or
on
so.
annexation, nobody ever does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just put me on something that's
Yeah.
not as.
What I would say is first select who's going to be the leader of each of these committees, and then we can fill in the blanks with the members. But everybody will have to have 2 committee
Yeah.
assignments. But hey, I'm going to let Ann and Jerry and Justin take this. So just take it away and do what you
Justin,
want.
I think you need to be the hot dog on annexation since your name's at the top anyway.
Okay.
Perfect.
Then we have to, Valencia or Brian, who wants to?
Throw
be
me
that
on there if they
provisional
don't
lead?
meet.
They don't, yeah, you're gonna be on
Perfect.
annexation.
So since subdivision meets more frequently, can we knock that one out real quick?
Sure.
Because Brooks was not able to make a majority of the meetings that we had during the annexation committee. And since Brian has asked to not be on there as well, so I recommend moving those 2 people off
Brooks,
for sure.
Brian.
Yes,
Off subdivision?
and-
off subdivision.
I'll come, I just forgot. It's not like
I didn't say and.
I know, but I didn't come either, and
Why was I at the subdivision meeting
because I
tonight?
forgot.
same reason I was, to make sure we had a quorum.
Well, you just show up at random. Thankfully, we did have people show up randomly.
It really did.
Otherwise, we would not have had quorum, ever.
You knew Ann
You
was.
can add me. You can have subdivision.
Oh my God, I'm not even on that committee and I
No,
showed up
go
for
ahead
the
and,
meeting.
I guess you all know the names of the 2 incoming
So-
people who are going to replace me and Matthew.
They
So
get
go ahead and
approved?
plug them in.
Yeah, they got approved,
Yeah,
both
go ahead
of
and
them.
plug their names in too.
Brooks.
Hey, put
So,
them on every one.
My
of them.
recommendation was Delencia join subdivision, so we have that layer, that sophomore level coming in, and then a new person as well. That way we have all levels of expertise.
Architect on there.
Who wants to chair that? I do not.
Marilyn, would you like to continue to chair that?
I would be fine continuing to chair it.
And what are their names that are coming in?
Brandon Rule
Arthur Ingram.
and Arthur Ingram.
Let's put the architect on there, like Brian said.
Brandon.
One is he.
Brandon Rule.
Okay, so on subdivision, does somebody, Jerry, you want subdivision since you, one of y'all want subdivision instead of me?
I don't
Since
mind
you
taking
actually show up.
subdivision since I show up.
All right, take me off subdivision
Okay, I'll go on sub.
and add Wendy.
Got it.
Okay,
Now we can finish out annexation and the rest.
Yeah, on 3, what do you want off of,
Conditional
zoning or
use.
conditional? You want off conditional?
Yeah, you can take me off conditional, I guess.
So, okay, I'll do conditional use. Jerry, you wanna head that one up?
I'm still the chair of zoning, as far as I know.
We'll get there, we'll make one.
I'm still there.
Well, we never meet anyway.
Something.
Yeah, we don't meet much
Either
anyway.
one of them either meet.
Okay, then I'll do that.
Okay.
The only one that's ever met, as long
I'll
as I've
chair
been on
zoning.
here, is subdivision. None of
So
the
I'm
others
now
have
the
ever
chair of
met.
conditional use.
You're now the chair of conditional use.
Okay.
We need somebody else on annexation, let's put, Arthur on that.
Am I still on zoning now?
Wait a minute, hang on. I'll get there. Let's put Arthur on that and put him on zoning.
So Arthur took Mark's space, basically.
Yeah. Matthew, let's see, Matthew's coming off, we need somebody on conditional use, who's on Justin?
You can put Brandon on there because he's only on
Brandon's the wrong
subdivision.
one.
Yes.
And that leaves Arthur on zoning.
Yes.
Okay. Let me make sure, we got Wendy. Wendy, you gotta come off of
Conditional
conditional
use.
use.
Yeah, I think you gotta swap Brooks and Wendy there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Brooks is on 2. All right, now I'm on 2. Arthur's on 2. Brian is on 2. Jerry is on 2. Okay, so this is how it's gonna be.
Speak.
On annexation, Justin Brown's gonna head it. Brooks and Arthur and Brian on annexation. Conditional use, Jerry will head it. Brandon and Brian and Brooks.
She went awful fast.
Yeah.
Are you
Right,
missing one?
Brandon and Brian and Brooks.
Brandon and
Brian and Brooks.
Did y'all get the first one? Okay. Subdivision, Marilyn's gonna continue to head that. Justin, Valencia, Brandon, and Wendy. Zoning, Jerry's gonna head that.
I am.
Wendy's.
I'm sorry, Wendy's gonna head that. Marilyn, Valencia, Arthur, and Jerry.
Perfect.
We all good?
It's easy.
Okay.
All right. Well, is there any other business that
Yes.
the planning commission needs to discuss this evening before we close?
Yes, don't close it yet.
Oh, I won't.
So while it's not in your packet, Beth and I talked beforehand and wanted to discuss the dates for next year's calendar. You know, last year we talked about, because there's always the President's Day and Martin Luther King Day that always throws some stuff in there, as well as spring break that always throws a kink in there. So if you look on, you don't have to, no worries. If you look on the Planning Commission's website, it does have the 2017 proposed dates on there. For President's Day and Martin Luther King Day, instead of having it that Monday on the actual holiday, they've been moved to Tuesday, like we did this year. The only issue I foresee on the calendar would be the March date, which is March 20th, which is, as Beth stated, the same week as Conway Spring Break. We can either leave it that week or move it up to the week of the 13th, which is what we did this year. We moved it up a week.
Make a motion to move it to the 13th.
Yeah, I agree.
Second.
Can we have a motion then to?
Aye.
I tell you what, I'll let you call for a vote, Ann, on this one.
All those in favor say aye.
Sure.
Discussion of the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed.
Other than those 3 dates, all others fall on the third Monday, just like every other normal, whatever.
Okay, great. Thanks for taking care of that.
Now,
Beth, are you
before-
going to send us a calendar? Okay, great. Super.
Before I call for a motion to adjourn, I do have one selfish request. Would somebody from the audience mind taking a picture before we all get up and leave? So to my knowledge, no picture has ever been taken of the group in the 5 years that I've been on the commission. Would you mind that, Beth, and email it out?
Where's our?
I would like to have pictographic proof that I served on this commission. So,
Wish I wore a better shirt.
I would too.
it's true. Yeah. Thank you, Beth.
I'd want to document it.
You know,
Yeah.
Dignified and important.
Distinguished.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, let me
Thanks.
get my colored glasses off.
for those of you that don't know and didn't hear, Beth is the City Employee of the Year.
All right. She deserves it. I'm telling you. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Beth.
Hey, Beth.
And for the last time, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to.
Wait.
Oh, we're not doing that yet. I forgot about
Now, we usually make the incoming chairperson do this task, but since she didn't know, you can do it if you like, but,
Go ahead. I think you do an excellent job of
Just about everything.
Go right ahead.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah, what is,
Oh, that's,
we'll start over here.
is there anything that Brian doesn't do?
Well, in grateful appreciation to Matthew Brown for dedicated service and untiring efforts in planning for Conway's future as a member of the Conway City Planning Commission, as vice chairman for 2016, years 2012 to 2016, on behalf of the city.
Thank you very
Hope we
much.
got that right. Thank you.
Hey, Matthew.
There's the souvenir box.
It's worth untold fortune, which I know.
And Mark Lewis, in appreciation of your dedicated service, untiring efforts in planning for Conway's future as a member of the Conway City Planning Commission from 2012 to 2016, as chairman 2016 and vice chairman 2015, we thank you for your dedicated service.
oh, it's been a pleasure. Just take a second here to brag on myself. We've had 61 meetings in the 5 years I've been here, because we had 2 in June of 2012. I've been here for all 61. I did miss, I had to get up in the middle of the January 2014 meeting and leave because my father-in-law died that evening. But other than that, I was here for, so I attended 60 and a half of the 61 meetings.
That's
So
amazing.
and it's been a great pleasure. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, please, yes, I'll make a motion.
We have a motion from Ann. Yeah, it's her.
I gotta
Now,
figure out who
I
I'm gonna-
second that.
Who I'm gonna hand that off.
yeah, Ann has had a monopoly on the motion to adjourn
Yes.
all year for the, actually, for the past.
Last year, for the
We have a
last,
second from Wendy.
3.
Is there any discussion or any objections to adjourning?
No.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That sounds unanimous. We're adjourned.
Wrote your
Peace out.
graduation hats in the air.
Wendy, I think you and I officially get to move down.
Oh.